Good evening. Good evening. This is the 21st Century Watchman's channel, and it's about time. It's about time is a 1 year chronological Bible study, um, so that we can make the Bible make sense, see how it fits together, see how First Samuel and Second Samuel fit into Chronicles and Kings, and how the Psalms all are meshed and blended in there. All of that, and how these prophets, that were around during the same time, how they all have tell a part of this continuous story. That there is continuity. It is not hodgepodge. It's a wonderful thing. So but right now we're in the book of Proverbs, Proverbs 19 through 21 tonight. And I find that reading a proverb a day is the best way. And so, like today is the 22nd of June. I have read Proverbs 22, and I do that. There are 31 proverbs, and this is the book of wisdom. It's a book of wisdom for life, and so we can't um, get enough wisdom. The Bible says in Proverbs 4 to get wisdom. Above all else, we're supposed to get wisdom and get understanding. That's a real big deal. In Proverbs 4 lets us know that we should be getting that wisdom. And so here we are in this book trying to do that. But and it has a hodgepodge. In the first 9 books, or first 9 chapters, excuse me, of this book, it was all about different, what the wise, and the book of just a lot of instruction for his son. Now, and it is, but this is more categorized. So it's important that we see. I decided to put them in categories, and we cover all the verses, but it's just, if you're going to read the book, for it to make sense, because it's kind of all over the place. You know how people say it's just random. Well, and I decided to put some order to it so it makes sense to me. And I put it in some categories. I would encourage you so that you can memorize things better, or you can make it make sense to you, to categorize the Proverbs and the Psalms too. But for sure, the Proverbs, because there's so many that are very, very similar. And so I put there's a category for fools, the rich versus the poor, the benefits of wisdom, benefits of listening to instruction, the consequences of lying, the B attitudes, the things we need to, the attitudes we need to, have. Those are the B attitudes. And then I have the work ethic. The work ethic. There's, works. There's scriptures on that. And then there's a don't be attitudes. Don't be this. Don't be this way. And then there's common sense ain't so common. It's just very generalized. Just some stuff is just like it should be common sense. Common sense ain't so common. That's what I found. So let's start off. I'm going to start this off. And although I am reading all the verses, I'm giving you a little bit from everywhere. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of what's going on. I don't want there to be any issues. Um, Verse 2, I'm starting off. So I'm starting off with fools. Verse 2 says, also, it is not good for a person to be without knowledge. And he who hurries with his feet um, sins. We can't be running to mischief really quickly. We got to take our time. And here's the way that it really reads in the Amplified Version. Also, it is not good for a person to be without knowledge, and he who hurries with his feet, acting impulsively and proceeding without caution or analyzing the consequences, sins or misses the mark. That really, really clarifies what that means. Verse 3 says, the foolishness of a man undermines his way, ruining whatever he undertakes. Just being foolish. Then his heart is resentful and rages against the Lord for being a fool. He blames the Lord instead of himself. Now that's not okay. You do this stuff yourself. You're not asking for wise counsel, because a fool is rebellious. That's what a foolish person is rebellious against. They heard the instruction and they refuse to do it. And so when you go against instruction and then you blame the Lord for the calamity that results in your foolishness and your rebellion, where they do that at? Verse 10, luxury is not fitting for a fool. They shouldn't be all blinged out, much less for a slave to rule over princes. We shouldn't have. That's bottom line. They shouldn't have too much because they're not used to it, and they're going to blow it. And much less for a slave should rule over princes because he doesn't have a skill set. Not because unless it's we just doesn't have a skill set. Bottom line, does not have the skill set, and it's just not the fitting thing. Verse 13: a foolish son is destruction to his father. That's a foolish, and we're going to read it in Amplified. A foolish or ungodly son is destruction to his father, and the contentions of a quarrelsome wife are like a constant dripping of water. First of all, a foolish son is, or ungodly son is a destruction to his father. It's his soul is vexed. It's embarrassing, and I'm sure. And the contention of a quarrelsome wife, a woman that argues all the time and just nags, is a constant, like a constant drip of water that just doesn't stop. You want that plumber to come fix that drip, drip, drip. That's what the nag does. Drip, drip, drip. And that's on both sides, by the way. It's just not the wife. I mean, they put it down here because that's what they were talking about. But I'm gonna say the quarrelsome and the drippings of a quarrelsome husband too. It's on either side. It's a whole hot mess in these streets. All right. Judgments are prepared for scoffers, people that mock the word and that mock you for believing in the word. That's not okay. Judgments are prepared for them. It says, and it says, and beatings for the backs of thick-headed fools. That's the Amplified. So a person that you cannot get through to. So judgments are prepared for the scoffers, people that God's got a judgment for them. And beatings, a fool gets whipped regularly, whether it be in life, whether it be however it works. The fool gets whipped repeatedly. We've got to do better and not be foolish. And so that's one category. So we had a whole category of fools. That's how that's the best way, I promise you, to read the proverb. So you read a proverb a day and then you categorize it. That way you really let this word seep in. That's how you own it. That's how you own it. And you keep on doing that. And you might add more categories every year that you do it. But this is one way to keep it going. So, and every day you do that, put a little tab in there. You get a notebook and you get those little tabs that are self adhesive, and you just pull that little tape off or whatever, and then you stick it to the page of your page or notebook, and you can do what you're supposed to do, and you can have the actual categories there, and you can really study the word. We're supposed to be studying the word together. This is a chronological Bible study. It's not a sermon every day. It's not an exhortation necessarily. What it is a Bible study. We're going through this word so that we can own it, so that we can be better at being good Christians, at being better people, at being the parts of the body. Still going. Rich versus poor. First verse. Better is a poor man who walks in his integrity than a rich man who is twisted in his speech and is a short-sighted fool. Remember, this is the Amplified. So it's better to be honest and be poor than to be a rich man who's got who's doing some shady stuff and speaking out both sides of his mouth and everything, and is a short sight. They have no vision. Better for it to be poor than to do that. Verse 4: wealth makes many friends. It does. You be having so many friends when you got some money, but a poor man is separated from his friend. They don't want to be around you when you broke. It's a shame. But they don't want to be around you when you're broke. But this is rich versus poor. This is the category. Many that I've named. Many will seek the favor, and this is verse 6. Many will seek the favor of a generous and noble man. They will. And everyone is a friend to him who gives gifts. They are. When you rolling in it, they are your friends. You can't, the parties, the white parties. I'm just going to throw out a party. Puff, better known as Diddy now. When he throws this white party, everybody wants to be invited. Everybody wants a ticket to the governor's balls, when there's the Oscars, because they give away gifts and it's the place to be seen. When you're rich and you're rolling it, everybody wants to be around you. Butter rum. But on verse 7 says, all the brothers of a poor man hate him. All the brothers. It didn't say like one or two of them. That one brother that the one that was a little bit older, it said all the brothers of a poor man hate him. How much more do his friends abandon him? Now, if his brothers hate him, his friends definitely going to abandon him, right? He pursues them with words, but they are gone. He's shouting, "Hey, wait, what's up?" And they're gone. Verse 22. That which is that which is desirable in a man is his loyalty and unfailing love. But it's better to be a poor man than a wealthy liar. So it's okay sometimes to be poor, right? As long as your paper is long, you got friends. But you find out who your friends are when you don't have your paper. Real talk. But that which is desirable in a man is his loyalty and unfailing love. We want to have loyal people to be loyal and have unfailing love toward us. But it is better to be a poor man than a wealthy liar. Better to be poor. It is better. God does not, because what does God hate? God detests a lying tongue. And also, what's abomination to him? A person that bears false witness. He does not like lies at all. So, yes, it's better to be poor than to be something that God hates. The benefits of wisdom. This is another category that I came up with. He who gains wisdom, and this is verse 8. He who gains wisdom and good sense loves or preserves his own soul. Gains wisdom and good sense. He who keeps understanding will find good and prosper. See, you get um, love for your soul, and then you will also, find good and you'll prosper. Verse 11, good sense and discretion make a man slow to anger. It is his honor and glory to overlook a transgression or an offense without seeking revenge and harboring resentment. So you don't harbor resentment when you are wise, and it's your honor and glory to forgive people. It just there's honor with wisdom. Wisdom gives you a level up on certain things. It does not keep you in a box. It's better to be wise. It really is. Still going on. Verse 14. House and wealth are the inheritance from fathers. That's what this is, the house and wealth are. But a wise, understanding, and sensible wife is a gift and blessing from the Lord. A wise wife is a blessing. There we go. That's just a benefit of being. You'll be a great wife. You're a blessing if you're wise to someone. Verse 23. The fear of the Lord leads to life. And remember, it said in previous chapters that the fear of the Lord is the beginning. In chapter 1, actually, Proverbs, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So the fear of the Lord leads to life, so that one may sleep satisfied, untouched by evil. When we reverence the Lord, we can sleep satisfied. To have a satisfied sleep, a satisfaction in sleeping and resting, untouched by evil, because you have a healthy reverence for the Lord, and you are respecting his commandments. That's part of being wise. And then finally, verse 25, strike a scoffer for refusing to learn, and the naive may be warned and become prudent. Okay? But reprimand one who has understanding and a teachable spirit, and he will gain knowledge and insight. A wise person can be reprimanded. A wise person can be taught something. It's really important. A wise man can be taught and will have knowledge and insight. Still going. It's the benefit of listening to instruction. Listen to counsel, receive instruction, and accept correction. So first listen to counsel, receive the instruction, and then accept the correction. So I'm listening, I'm owning it, and then accepting means you're going to do better. So you're not just, I ain't just hearing it. I'm hearing it here. I'm hearing it here. I'm hearing it here. I'm cementing my mind, and now I'm acting on it. That's what the accepting is. I need to be correct. I need to do this better, and I've applied it. That's what it comes from hearing it in your ears to cementing it in your brain, and knowing, and then applying it, and that you may be wise in time to come. These things give you wisdom in time to come. Now here we go with the consequences of lying. Still on this same chapter, verse 5. A false witness will not go unpunished. Bottom line, you gonna get it. Or you, whatever a man reap, that I mean, so that so he'll also reap. Bottom line, and he who breathes out lies will not escape. There's no escape because God does not like a liar. He detests a lying tongue. That's the word. A false witness will not go unpunished. See, this is verse 9. He's saying it again. It bared repeating in the same chapter. And he who breathes lies will perish. He says again. See, he who breathes out lies will not escape, and then he who breathes lies will perish. It bared repeating, and again and again and again. I say four verses down from 5 to 9. He's saying basically the same thing because that bad boy bared repeating. Please know you will not get away. All right, and a false witness is not the same thing as a liar. A liar will lie about anything, but a false witness is going to lie on somebody. A liar just tells tales to you, but a false witness lies on you. There's a difference between a liar and a false witness. Be clear. These are my thoughts. Now we'll go back to the Beatitudes. Here's what we should be. These are our Beatitudes. Things we should have. He who keeps, this is verse 16. He who keeps and obeys the commandment of the Lord keeps guard of his own life. But he who is careless of his ways and conduct will die. So if we keep and obey, we're going to keep our own life. If you don't do that and you're careless, then, there's that other thing, death. Verse 17, he who is gracious, so we want to be gracious. We want to keep and obey the commandments first. Now we want to be gracious and lend a hand to the poor. Because it says, he who is gracious and lends a hand to the poor, lends to the Lord. Don't you want the Lord to be in your debt? You're lending to the Lord. Because he said, what did he say? Be a lender and not a borrower. He says it. So he even allows us to lend to him. And how do we lend to him? By lending a hand and giving to the poor. Let's get the Lord in our debt. Let's start doing more for the poor. This is a wonderful thing. And come on, because it says, and the Lord will repay him for his good deed. The Lord will repay. There's no doubt the Lord will. Let's get this going. We should be out here doing all kinds of community service. There should not be a homeless person on the street. Because just we want the Lord to repay. It should be customer service, city out here for us. We should be doing everything for the poor. Shouldn't be homeless. Shouldn't be anybody, that's hungry. If we got it, they should have it. And then you will have a supply because the Lord will repay you. Work ethic. Verse 15. Laziness casts one into a deep sleep, which is unmindful of a lost opportunity. And the idle person will suffer hunger. If you're lazy, you're gonna be hungry. It's just bottom line. You are gonna be hungry. You need to get that together. The lazy man buries his hand in the food dish, it says in Amplified, but will not even bring it to his mouth again. He buried his hand in there, but he will not even, but he's too lazy to even pick it up and put it in his mouth. Because he's just lazy. We got to do better. We can't be caught being lazy, and we've got to make sure that our kids are not lazy, and the people that we influence are not lazy. They understand the implications of laziness and what it means. Here's this is my other one. The don't be attitudes. Verse 19. A man of great anger will bear the penalty for his quick temper and lack of self-control. For if you rescue him and do not let him learn from the consequences of his action, you will only have to rescue him over and over again. So sometimes you gotta let people just let them deal with their consequences of their mouth and their actions. I'm sick of her and I'm gonna tell her off. Does she really need to be told off though? You're gonna lose your whole job behind that. And so you going back behind them to try to make sure that you cover it up and say, hey, listen, they didn't mean it this time. How many times you going to keep saying they didn't mean it until they learn? They're gonna have to learn, and sometimes we have to let them go. We're not their Holy Spirit, and we're not. If God's saying don't do it, then we shouldn't do it. Let's take this. Let's do what God said. These are my thoughts. Let's go on. Verse 28. A wicked and worthless witness mocks justice. They do. Oh, if you're wicked and you're mocking justice, that's what you do. You're wicked and worthless, and the mouth of the wicked spreads iniquity. Yeah, bottom line. And here's my last category: common sense ain't so common. I know, but I have my little tabs, and so common sense ain't so common in there. Discipline and teach your son while there is hope, please. And do not indulge your anger or resentment by imposing inappropriate punishment, nor desire his destruction. So you're not supposed to over spank, over punish. You're supposed to have a balance. That's what this word is saying. You're supposed to teach their son. You teach your son or your daughter while there is hope, but you're not supposed to go overboard and to the point where you desire his destruction. Not to the point where you're killing people that's killing their kids. I'm sick of them. They talk too much. I'm gonna knock your teeth down your throat. You know all the things I'm gonna slap fire from you. Not fire though. I'm gonna slap you in the next week. Let's not. Let's just maybe Tuesday. Today's Thursday. Maybe Friday. Let's not. Maybe not next week. I'm just saying we should sort of dial that back. Verse 21. Many plans are in a man's mind, but if the Lord's purpose for him, but it is the Lord's purpose for him that will stand. God does have a purpose for your life. We might have many plans, but it is the Lord's purpose for him that will stand, that will be carried out. Verse 16, he who keeps and obeys the commandment of the Lord, again, like I said before, he guards his own life. And I mentioned that one in the Beatitudes. And the last one, the king's wrath, in verse 12, terrifies like the roaring of a lion, but his favor is as refreshing and nourishing as dew on the grass. We need to read the room. When you see that the leader is mad or having a moment or whatever, and that's what if you're in ministry, if you're at the job, the boss is upset, we need to read the room. We want to make sure we keep the king's favor as much as possible. That is the goal. We're not trying to even the unrighteous ones, even the ones. I mean, Moses was still able to go to Pharaoh every time until the man said don't. But he was able to go. He did not incur the wrath of Pharaoh. There has to be a way for us to talk to people. We're not trying to incur the wrath. We need to learn how to deal with the leadership. That's chapter 19. We'll end on that one. That's the end of that one. This one is chapter 20. I also categorize it too. First one, substance abuse. Wine is a mocker, a strong drinker, a riotous brawler, and whoever is intoxicated by it is not wise. We're not being wise when we're dealing with wine. Let us not do that. We're not trying to. We need to categorizing is important. It helps you own the Proverbs better. The next one for me was business etiquette. Are we good? Verse 10. Differing weights, one for buying and another for selling, and differing measures. Both of them are detestable and offensive to the Lord. We should not have differing weights. We should not charge one person one thing and one person another thing. Our scale should be balanced. We shouldn't cheat people. We should not be cheating people. Everybody, the same price for you should be the same price for so and so. We should not have differing weights. We should not cheat people. We shouldn't put a little bit more. I have a problem, and I understand that economic issues, but I have a problem with in some suburban areas, gas is much cheaper than it is in the areas where people can't afford it as much. I understand that there are perks, and I understand that there might be security risks, but we have to find a way to be better because it's hard when they're differing weights. I'll leave it at that. I do. That's for me. That's where that applies most. You see better things in certain areas, and There should not the we should have all have access. This is about access. This is about treating people fairly. It's not always done. These are my thoughts. Verse 16, and it's amplified version. The judge tells the creditor, take the clothes of one who is surety for a stranger and hold him in pledge when he guarantees a loan for foreigners. That's letting you know, because the word said before, in previous chapters, don't be a surety for anybody. Don't put yourself up. Don't co-sign. The word was clear that about us not co-signing. So it's telling you what's going to happen to you if you are co-signing. This is how this plays out. Take the clothes of one who is co-signed for a stranger and hold him in pledge. So you don't just take his clothes. Now I'm going to hold him in pledge. He's a guarantor, and so he needs to be held as a slave until this co-signing thing is until the debt is paid. When he guarantees loans for us for foreigners, we should not be doing that. That's bottom line. The judge says don't do it. All right. Verse 17, food gained by deceit. And I know, okay, by the way, I'm gonna go back here. I know we're tempted to co-sign for people because we really want to see them get that. I just want you to, the Lord said don't. The Lord said don't. The Lord said don't. I want you to think about that. Do we know better than the Lord? Do we have more compassion than the Lord? Do we? Do we? And do we care more about what people say to us than what God says about us? Do we care more about being seen as a good person, or do we care about our level of stewardship and the things that He's given us access and over and access to and stewards over? We have to be cognizant of that. Just throwing that out there as a to wrap that one up. It says, food gained by deceit is sweet to a man, but afterward his mouth will be filled with gravel. Just as sin may be sweet at first, but the later its consequences bring despair. It's self-explanatory. Don't do it. It's feel good at first, but eventually that's gonna turn all the way around. I'll throw it out there. I'm leaving that. Different weights are detestable and offensive to the Lord. Here we go again. Back in it was differing weights before, differing weights again. Same thing that was said in verse 10 is being said in verse 23. And offensive to the Lord. And fraudulent scales are not good. Just stop cheating. Bottom line, stop cheating. 25, it is a trap for a man to speak a vow of consecration and say rashly, it is holy, and not until afterward consider whether he can fulfill it. You cannot. Don't say things that you're not sure of. Don't put yourself out there. Close your mouth. Watch your mouth. We can't say stuff. It's all, you can't be all rash. Be careful out here. Let's go. Leadership. Plans are established, verse 18. Plans are established by counsel, so make war only with wise guidance. Let's not be out here pushing a button. Let's not get people upset in other countries that may have an issue with just being a little on edge and wanting to fight anyway. They about that life. They say anyway. There's some countries that you can see from the way they fight each other. They about that life, and we don't need to be. We need to be, thoughtful. Make war only with wise guidance. Because I don't know if we're really about that life. Once upon a time we was about that life, but everybody not about that life. Not no more. We gotten older. Maybe our children look like they're about that life, and this generation like they're about that life, but they're about that life on this level. They not on no international about that nuclear war life. We need to be careful before we need to go talk about war with wise guidance. That's why we need the Josephs and the Daniels to rise, and the seers in every country to rise up, so that thought is put. Yes, be thoughtful before speaking. Be clear. Verse 26. A wise king sifts out the wicked from among the good. A wise king is very, very discerning. We want wise rulers, and drives the threshing wheel over them to separate the chaff from the grain. He can pull it out of you. Can pull out the good and the bad. He can see. He's discerning, and he can pull it out of you. Some people have that spirit that brings out who you really are in people or in you. They can bring it out, whether it be good or bad. Your flaws or your potential for greatness comes out in their company because they have that thing. A wise king sifts it out. That's the word. Verse 2. The terror of a king is like the roaring of a lion. Remember, we said that earlier, and that was done in chapter 20. It bears repeating. Whoever provokes him to anger forfeits his own life. Oh, see? Let's not get the ruler mad. Don't walk in there, Joe Biden, don't do any of that foolishness. Sir, Mr. President, if I may have the floor, learn some etiquette. Don't come in there acting all put some respect on his name, put some respect on that office. That's everyone that has purview and over you. That's your pastor. Ladies, I'm gonna say this, that's your husband. It's put some respect. I'm pulling up on you. Put some respect on my name. Put some respect on my name. Put some respect on my name. I'm just saying, these are my thoughts. All right. Verse 28. Loyalty and mercy, truth and faithfulness protect the king. These are the things that protect the king. Loyalty and mercy, truth and faithfulness protect the king. And he upholds his throne by loving kindness. That's what protects the king. So if a king is not being loyal or merciful, truthful or faithful, he may not be protected. So we're going to be praying these things over our rulers: loyalty, mercy, truth, and faithfulness, because we want our rulers to be protected. They were put there by God. That's the word. So we have to, and God allowed them to go into office. We have to pray that over them. And we want them to have loving kindness. The omnipotence of God in this one. Man's steps are ordered and ordained by the Lord, for sure. How then can a man fully understand his way? Right? How can you really, if the steps are ordained by the Lord, how do you really know where you're going? How can you fully understand it? You have to keep seeking the Lord. That's the whole point of it. So you can't say, I know what I'm doing. You don't really know what you're doing if your steps are being ordered by the Lord and you were not in tune with God. You're not going to be in tune with the Lord and your ways if you're not in tune with the Lord. Just bottom line. Anyway, the spirit of a man is the lamp of the Lord. That's verse 27. Searching and examining all the innermost parts of his being. That's the omnipotence of God again. He searches and examines our innermost parts. And verse 12, the hearing ear and the seeing eye, the Lord has made both of them. Seeing eye and the hearing ear. He's made it all. Letting you know how that what those senses that you have, that insight you have, that ability to understand you have, God gave that to you. That's the God. That's what he put all that together. Let's work with that. Again, work ethic. The lazy man does not plow when the winter season arrives, so he begs at the harvest and has nothing to reap. He begs at the harvest and has nothing to reap. Verse 13, do not love excessive sleep or you will become poor. We got to learn how to live on less. Nobody should be living on what I live on. I live on 4 hours probably. Literally, seriously. Especially during school time. It's really a shame. And I am resting now, but I'm telling you, I live on 4. But it says, or you will become poor. I don't want to be poor. I'm not chasing checks, but I'm learning the balance. Open your eyes so that you can do your work and you will be satisfied with bread. Bottom line. And again, the Beatitudes, still going. Verse 6, many a man proclaims his own loyalty and goodness. But who can find a faithful and trustworthy man? We should be faithful and trustworthy. Still going. The righteous man who walks in integrity and lives in accord with his godly beliefs. That's what the righteous man does. How blessed, happily, and spiritually secure are his children after him. That's what happens. If you're walking in integrity and living in accordance with his God, with his godly beliefs, then his children are going to be blessed. That's what we want. Here's a don't be attitude. Who can say I have cleansed my heart? I am pure from my sin. Don't be out here saying stuff like that. I am pure. I have cleansed my heart. Let's not tell lies. This is let's deal in reality. Even at our best, we're less than a filthy rag. Who out here saying these things, right? That's verse 9. Verse 21. An inheritance hastily gained, the lotto, by greedy or unjust means. Well, maybe not the lotto is not maybe it's not unjust, but it is greedy. I gotta play my ticket. I gotta play my ticket. So an inheritance hastily gained at the beginning will not be blessed in the end. People just lose it so quickly because they weren't ready for it. The majority of the people that play the lotto that win do not hold on to the money. There has to be something to that. The word is saying hastily gain because he didn't give it to you. And so sometimes the devil gives it to you or the enemy gives it to you so that you can see and so that you can be made a fool of and you'll be more in more debt than you were. We can't manage our credit cards. How are we gonna manage that $1 million? And then everybody's gonna be, well, however many million it is, somebody's gonna come, everybody pulls at you. We don't have the wisdom. We need to get wisdom and understanding, and then you'll get everything else. But wisdom first and understanding, and God will give you the rest. Here we go. Verse 15, there, watch your mouth. There is gold and an abundance of pearls, but the lips of knowledge are a vessel of preciousness, the most precious of all. But the lips of knowledge, we have to have lips of knowledge. Verse 20, whoever curses his father or his mother, his lamp will be extinguished in time of darkness. Might I say, if my children curse me or their father, their lamp might be extinguished a little bit faster. Just throwing it out there. Okay, just jokes, just jokes. Going on. Verse 22, do not say, I will repay evil. Wait expectantly for the Lord, and he will rescue and save you. Been there, done that. And I promise you, God will come shining through. He will glow right on through that. So I promise you, you do not have to repay evil for evil. Let the Lord, can't nobody do it like the Lord. Can't nobody do it like the Lord. Let the Lord handle it. Still going. Fools, another category. It is an honor for a man to keep away from strife, but any fool will quarrel without regard for the consequences. It's an honor for a man to keep away from strife. We need to keep away from strife. That's the honor we have. We have to make sure that we stay away from a strife. Walk away as fast as you can. Run. Administrative stuff. A plan in the heart of a man is like water in a deep well, but a man of understanding draws it out. A man of understanding can draw out that good stuff out of you. So we have a lot of plans deep down, deep in that mind, deep in that heart, and then, but a man of understanding can draw it out. And last but not least, verse 30, blows that wound cleanse away evil, and strokes reach to the innermost parts. God strokes. Man hits with blows, but God strokes. He reaches to the innermost parts. When he is chastisement, this is chastisement versus a punishment, if you will. Those do something for the outer, the evil, but the inside, that purification on the inside, those are strokes. God delivers strokes. These are just my thoughts. All right, I'm going to probably read this one as is. Although I've categorized it in quite a few things, but I'm going to read it straight, chapter 21 all the way through, and we're going to get through this bad boy quickly because there's stuff to do. The king's heart is like channels of water in the hands of the Lord. He turns it whichever way he wishes. That means the Lord he can move it back and forth. It's like a river flowing. He gets to move it because the Lord has the king's heart because the Lord puts you on the throne. So that's how that works. So that's where we are. Every man, in verse 2, every man its way is right in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs and examines the hearts. We've said that before. So we think that we're good in our own mind, but we're definitely not that. To do righteousness and justice is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. We've got to do righteousness and justice. All right. Haughty and arrogant eyes and a proud heart. The lamp, well, yeah, and a proud heart. The lamp of the wicked is sin. All of that. So those, how the eyes are like, this is the same thing. This is the lamp of the wicked is a sin. They're self-centered. When you're arrogant and you're proud and you're haughty, your lamp is wicked and it's all self-centered. So it's on the inside. We're not trying to shine out. God's light helps us to see outside and to be a bright light for somebody else. This the haughty and the arrogant and the proud, their light on the inside. They're only looking out for themselves. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance and advantage. Remember that. Your plans, if you're diligent, they will surely lead to abundance and advantage. But everyone who acts in haste comes surely to poverty. We've got to take our time. Let God do his perfect work. Let the Holy Spirit do his perfect work. Acquiring treasure by a lying tongue is a fleeting vapor. Come on now. We already know that. And seeking and pursuit of death. That's what it is. So it's a fleeting vapor, and it's the seeking and pursuit of death. The violence of the wicked will return to them because they refuse to act with justice. These are all does for me. The way of the guilty is exceedingly crooked. Come on now. But as for the pure, his conduct is upright. It is better to live in a corner of the housetop than in a house shared with a quarrelsome woman or man. This is all metaphoric. I'm just going to say that. Or man. The soul of the wicked desires evil. Wow. His neighbor finds no compassion in his eyes. Wow. When the scoffer is punished, the naive become wise because they're looking at the lessons. But when the wise and teachable person is instructed, he receives the knowledge. So the naive looks at the scoffer's punishment and they become wise. But when the wise and teachable person is instructed, he doesn't need to be punished. The naive learns from the scoffer's punishment, and the wise and teachable person just learns from the instruction. Just teach me. Don't gotta punish me. I don't have to learn that lesson. I can just look at what they did, and that's not what I want to do. That's the lesson right there. Verse 12: the righteous one keeps an eye on the house of the wicked. How the wicked are cast down to ruin. Yes, that's the example. That's what we don't want. That's what we don't want. All right. Whoever shuts his ears at the cry of the poor will cry out himself and not be answered. Ooh, that's a word right there, right? We can't act like we don't see the homeless. We can't act like we don't hear them. We can't act like we don't hear the hungry. We can't act like we don't hear the oppressed. The people that are being trafficked. We shouldn't act like we don't hear it. All the people that are hungry in other countries, and even in this one, people that are having dirty water, we can't act like we don't hear. We have to hear. Hearing is not just, we listen. Remember we talked about listening earlier? Then we hear it and then we accept. We have to accept the cries and go do something. It's time for us to act. Real clear. All right, still going. Ooh. A gift in secret subdues anger. So do it quietly, and a bribe hidden in the pocket, strong wrath. Wow. When justice is done, it is a joy to the righteous. When justice is done, it is we get really excited when justice is served. We saw so many times with cops being brought down. Let's not forget, we get excited about when they've done the wrong thing. But to evildoers, it is a disaster. Of course. A man who wanders from the way of understanding will remain in the assembly of the dead. When you don't want understanding, which is godly wisdom, you will remain with the people that are going to hell, unfortunately. He who loves only selfish pleasure will become a poor man. Bottom line, you've got to give to the Lord. You've got to give to the needy and the poor so that you can be repaid by the Lord. You've got to keep that mindset. He who loves and is devoted to wine and olive oil will not become rich. If you looking out for yourself and because olive oil represents food and things of that nature and riches. If all you're concerned about is wine and riches, you will not become rich. The wicked become a ransom for the righteous. Come on now, and the treacherous in the place of the upright. For they fall into their own traps. It is better to dwell in a desert land than with a contentious and a troublesome woman. I guess Solomon knew a lot about this because he had so many wives. These are my thoughts. Because he keeps mentioning about how many women did he live with though? I just he's bringing this woman thing up. I'm just throwing it out there. He lived with a lot of women, so he probably would know a little thing or two. But it just seems really interesting. He keeps bringing this woman thing up. Bruh, if you didn't have so many, which woman was it? The only one woman, or was it how many? Was it wife number 500? Which one was it? I'm kidding. Concubine number 500. Which one was it? Wife number 299. Which one was it? These are my thoughts. All right. There is a precious treasure and an oil in the house of the wise, but a short-sighted and foolish man swallows it up and wastes it. He who earnestly seeks righteousness and loyalty finds life, righteousness, and honor. A wise man scales the city walls of the mighty and brings down the stronghold in which they trust. And brings down the stronghold in which they trust. He scales the city walls. That's what a wise man does. He who guards his mouth and his tongue guards himself from troubles. Watch your mouth and your tongue. Proud, haughty scoffer are his names, who acts with overbearing and insolent pride. That's what happens. Proud, haughty, and scoffer. The desire of the lazy kills him. Ooh, for his hands refuse to labor. Don't want no lazy people in my life. All my friends are working fastidiously. I don't deal with people that are they're not doing something. They have to be able to do something. It's really important. Still going. Yes, please remember to like and share. Uh, he craves all the day long and does no work, but the righteous willingly gives and does not withhold what he has. Love that. The sacrifice of the wicked is detestable and offensive to the Lord. Remember our boy Cain, how he killed his brother Abel because his sacrifice was wicked and detestable. How much more unacceptable and insulting can it be when he brings it with evil intention? God does not like it. A false witness will perish, but a man who listens to the truth will speak forever and go unchallenged. A man who listens to the truth. A wicked man puts on a bold face, but as for the upright, he considers, directs, and establishes his way. He thinks about it. He gets on the right path, and then he gets that firmly established. That's what he does with the confidence of integrity, it says. Verse 30, there is no human wisdom or understanding or counsel that can prevail against the Lord. Be clear. I don't care what I mean. We love if Iyanla Vanzant, we love her, and we love Oprah, and these are all wise people according to the world. And there are so many people that are just so wise, but there is no human wisdom. Dr. Phil, we know we love them all. Butter rum. There is no human wisdom. The shade room that gives us all the TMZ. There is no human wisdom or understanding or counsel that can prevail against the Lord. Bottom line. Red table talk, all that, the Lord. The horse is prepared for the day of battle, but deliverance and victory belong to the Lord. And there we go. That's the word, and that's all of it. And there was a lot of it, right? So today, I'm going to tell you we're ending with that deliverance and victory. If you need deliverance today, God is inviting you into a relationship with Him right now. He is doing it. And so, right now, if you will, I'll ask you to say this prayer with me, repeat after me, and God will come into your life. Holy Spirit will come into your life right now, and you will be delivered all the way through. And you will have all the benefits of righteousness and wisdom and the omnipotence, and you will have a great work ethic because you will know these proverbs in and out. Are we ready? Father, it is written in your word that if I confess with my mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in my heart that you have raised him from the dead, I shall be saved. Therefore, Father, I confess with my mouth that Jesus is Lord of my life, and I make him Lord of my life right now. I believe in my heart that you have raised him from the dead, and I renounce my past life with Satan and close the door to any and all of his devices. I thank you for forgiving me of my sin, and I have become a new creation. Old things have passed away. Now all things become new. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. If you have said this prayer with me, you are a child of God, and welcome, welcome, welcome. And please put your name in the chat so we can celebrate with you. If you have said this prayer with me and you have no church home in your area that you're aware of, I implore you to put your name in the chat and your city, because we have members all over the country, and we will definitely make sure that we direct you to a church home in your area. God bless you. God keep you. We will be here again tomorrow because we're in this word, studying it every night because it's about time. It's about time for you. It's about time for me. God bless you.